Alright guys, what is up? It is time for our Monday conversation. And obviously today is kind of a historic day in history. September 11th. 16 years ago, obviously one of the biggest tragedies in America happened. And for some reason, and this might just be because I lived through it, I have this infatuation with it. If there's something that comes on TV about it, I have to watch it. So like yesterday I watched a ton of September 11th stuff. History Channel played it all day. And you know, there was a couple things I didn't get to watch. I was busy doing other stuff. Like there was a show about the air traffic controllers who had to land all those planes that day. And I watched one show that talked to the fighter pilots who actually went up in the jets that they did actually scramble at one point. And the lady was talking about how she didn't know what she was going to do exactly at first because we were at peacetime basically. So when they scrambled the jets, like the jets went up, but they didn't have any missiles on them. So she's like, I don't know how I would shoot them down. I basically made the decision in my mind, well, if I do find a plane that I think has been hijacked or I'm told has been hijacked, I'm going to have to ram it. Which is just wild to think about. Like, there's so many things. Obviously, you think of the big stuff like, oh, what if I had been caught in the towers or whatever. But there's things like that you don't think about, or like the air traffic controllers. You know, another thing I saw was they talked to the ferry boat drivers who helped rescue all the people off the island there. Just so much stuff you don't think about, and it was so sad and scary. I can vividly remember that day. I was in 8th grade. Yeah, I think it was 8th grade, 7th or 8th. I was in middle school, and I didn't know it happened until I went into my class shortly before the South Tower got hit, and it was on TV. And we sat there and watched it. And as we were watching, I watched the second plane fly into the tower. And I just remember going, what in the hell is going on? Like, it was unbelievable. And you know, as a kid, I didn't fully comprehend it. I understood it, but I didn't fully comprehend it like I do now. It was amazing. It was wild. I'd never seen anything like it. And then at school, I mean, they didn't send us home or anything. And they in fact at one point, I think it was shortly after the first tower collapsed, they made a school-wide announcement that we weren't allowed to watch it during school anymore. We couldn't watch the news or anything like that. So I had to wait till I got home and then see the rest of it and realize both towers had collapsed, the Pentagon had been hit, and all this stuff. And I was just like, oh my God, like, what's going on? And I remember talking to my mom, being like, what do we do? Like, you know, I mean, I obviously was in Michigan. I wasn't scared for my life. There's not like really tall buildings here or anything. The closest thing we have is the nuclear power plant, which at that time didn't even register to me like, hey, they could hit that. But it's just a day you'll never forget. You know, I mean, here we are 16 years later, and I was just a kid when that happened, and I can clearly remember it. And I honestly think it's one of those things that terrifies me more now than it did then. And it's just kind of the thought of, you never know when it's going to happen, and who knows what they're going to do. You know, when people don't like you, they'll hit you for no reason, and you're never going to see it coming. So, and that was kind of what happened that day. So, you know, my thoughts and prayers still go out to those people who lost loved ones in the buildings. I haven't actually been to New York ever. It's on my list to do in the not too distant future, and Ground Zero is definitely a stop to make. And you know, to see something like that happen, an act of terror, and you think about, what would you do today? You know, like if something like that were to happen today, what would I do? and the real possibility is something like that could happen, although maybe not as much of a terror attack as we see it coming. I mean, North Korea is pretty unstable right now, and who knows what's going to happen with that. Just one of those things. It's weird to think about, and you're just never quite sure what you're going to do until you're in that moment. But yeah, that was just the conversation I wanted to have. Like, do you remember what you were doing that day? Do you remember who you were with? Because I do very, very vividly. I'm pretty sure, teacher-wise, I'm not exactly sure. I'm pretty sure it was Miss Amy, I want to say. Maybe that's not right. But that sounds right to me. But I do remember it was my, ironically enough, it was my social studies class or history class, whatever you want to call it, that I went into when I found out this was happening and was watching it on TV. So, just days that shape our lives and days that you never forget, and that's one of them. So, I mean, it's a somber Monday conversation, but it's just what's going on right now in real life. And today is that day, and so you can't forget about it. You just have to reflect on it and move forward from it and try to, get the most positive result out of it you can. And that's what we do. So, thanks for tuning in. Sorry this was kind of a sombering vlog here, but tomorrow we'll go back to regular vlogs, and yeah, make it happy again. Have a great day, guys.